stirring as we pray and sing. We're on our knees, we're on our knees. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest.
Today we have the very special honor of participating in a community liturgy alongside families at Commons, child dedications and baptisms. It is an incredible privilege to welcome children, not only into our faith community, but also into the larger community of the church. Now, some of us are more familiar with the sacrament of baptism for infants. This is where we look forward to God's grace, searching us out, leaving the 99 to come and to find us and to bring us home. And others of us are more familiar with the dedication of children in the church. This is where parents commit themselves to raising their children in the ways that point to faith, trusting that a child will come to know God and embrace Jesus as guide for their lives in due time. And our posture here at Commons is that both of these traditions express something so beautiful about the mystery of God's love at work in our lives. The divine seeks us out and invites us to seek God. The divine chooses us and desires that we choose God. And so we invite families to participate in the way that the Spirit leads them.
This is the day where we rehearse Jesus' arrival into ancient Jerusalem. And we know this. We know that the ancient city was packed with throngs of Jewish pilgrims that had gathered to celebrate the high Passover feast. And as Jesus crested the hill to come into the city, John's gospel tells us that many of these pilgrims went out to meet him and his followers. They were waving palm branches and they were welcoming him as a long-anticipated revolutionary and ruler that they hoped would lift the heavy hand of Roman oppression. The truth is that Jesus had these ideas that sparked a lot of hope. And you know what? The Gospels tell us repeatedly how Jesus undermined and confronted the efforts of crowds drawn to those ideas. When they tried to make him king, he sort of pushed back. And this image of a humble Palm Sunday entry is just another example of this. As Jesus went along, he saw a man born blind, or blind from birth. And his disciples asked him, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" "Neither this man nor his parents sinned," said Jesus, "but this happened so that the works of God might be displayed in him. As long as it is day, we must do the works of him who sent me," Jesus said. "Night is coming when no one will be able to work, and while I'm in the world, I am the light of the world." After saying this, Jesus spit on the ground, made some mud with the saliva, and put it on the man's eyes. "And go," he told him, "wash in the pool of Siloam." So the man went and washed and came home seeing. Jesus came with every parable and with every sign and with every conversation to tell a better story about God, where your difficulties and your weakness, the suffering that you encounter, these things aren't reduced to being just the raw materials that God uses to accomplish divine objectives. But instead, these are the things that Jesus experiences and carries and confronts with his own body, showing us that God spares no part of God's self to participate in our experience. And Jesus' solidarity with this man and with me and with you, that solidarity that is always there. This is the light that is always shining, even in our darkest moments. And I love how this story depicts faith as sometimes being rooted in the things that you know you know. Those moments where you realize you walk by faith. Yes, mysteriously sometimes, but sometimes We walk by faith by following real world, tangible signs like good friends and sound advice and measurable transformation that we cannot deny. But what I appreciate is how this story shows us how the gospel is always character driven. I mean, this guy has had a crazy life. And as a result, he has this unique perspective and all this humor hidden underneath the things he says. And when the community rejects his transformation and experience, Jesus goes and finds this guy, showing us how the good news is especially true for those forced out, and for those who don't fit, and for those who ask the pressing question, and those who see how truly wide Jesus' arms are opened. And maybe that's a helpful reminder for all the times you have been told that you're too much. The times that you have fought for what you felt was right and you were forced out. The times that you stuck up for what you believed in or stuck up for others only to be cast out of a community. This is a great reminder because this is a story where characters like you are found and celebrated. Certain forms of faith can be the very thing that blinds us. If you read to the end of the chapter, Jesus makes it clear that this whole story is about how he came into the world to give people a new way to see God and to see themselves. And he acknowledges that some people are blind to this. And we know that this is a realization that broke Jesus' heart. Luke's gospel will tell us how as Jesus arrives in Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, as he comes close to the city, Jesus breaks down and starts to weep. And he was crying because he knew that the city couldn't see the kingdom of peace that he was trying to bring to them. He was crying because this thing was hidden from their eyes. And this image of Jesus lies at the heart of what we celebrate today. How every sign he performed hinted at a world reset, and a world made new for all, a world ready to be restored if we would only trust something more than certainty, something more than our conclusions of what divine transformation looks like. Because if the stories of Palm Sunday and John 9 teach us anything, and in fact, if looking at Jesus for any extended period of time reveals anything to us, it's that faith is the work of trusting the change that God always brings. God will always change your heart and attitudes toward others. The love of God will always change your exacting expectations of yourself. And the love of God will surely change the views of God that we thought we'd always have to hold on to. Finding, as we change and as we lean in, that we discover something more than certainty and find that we can finally see. So may your eyes be open as you journey with Christ this Holy Week.